Chapter 5.5. O Helm. Morthal Pashtor lay on his back in the camp, eyes closed, but mind anything but at rest. The rough earth beneath his bedroll pressed against his weary body, but it wasn't the discomfort keeping him awake. It was the weight of responsibility, the weight of expectations, the weight of his calling. His breaths came shallow and quick, his chest tightening with each exhale. The crackling campfire just beyond his closed eyelids cast warm shadows over Zira and Doreen, who shared the watch. Their voices were low, but in the quiet night, their murmurs reached him like ghosts of his own doubt.
Do you think he ever really sleeps?
Doreen's voice carried a hint of amusement, but also curiosity.
Probably not.
Zira replied, her tone uncharacteristically soft.
He's an elf, likely just meditating. Though Ilara does that brooding thing so well, you'd think he'd perfected it.
A faint chuckle passed between them before Doreen continued.
What about Morthal? You think he ever actually rests?
I think he tries.
Zira said, lowering her voice as if the cleric might overhear.
Always pretending to be invincible. Probably thinks Helm will notice if he slips up.
Quiet laughter followed, though it softened quickly. Doreen added after a moment, surprising herself with the admission.
But I wouldn't trust most clerics to lead us. But Morthal, well, he's different.
Zira didn't answer immediately, but her sigh spoke volumes. Her voice tinged with something Morthal couldn't place. He tried to think of the warmth of Helm's presence, of the duty placed upon him as a guiding light for these lost souls. Instead, all he could see were the many ways each of them strayed. Ilara, carrying sins blacker than midnight, forever struggling to shed the shadows of old murders. Doreen, tempted by coin and shiny baubles, lured into reckless acts that put them all at risk. Zira, draped in arrogance and showmanship, mistrustful and craving only admiration. Balin, his armor polished but his soul dented by secrets and drink. And Morthal. Could he truly save them? He was a mortal man, a cleric, yes, but no saint. He clenched his jaw, forcing himself to remain still. He couldn't let them see how tightly the doubts gripped him. A leader was supposed to be a beacon of strength, unshakable in his resolve. And yet, as he lay there, the whispers of his companions only fueled his own thoughts. His throat tightened. He felt a prickle at the corners of his eyes. He must not weep, not here. Yet the panic swelled inside him. The future weighed heavy as mountain stone. Helm had tasked him to guide these four onto a path of right and law, to nurture something good in their battered hearts. But how? How to coax kindness from greed? How to call forth mercy from a blade-stained soul? How to calm a mind forever seeking vanity or numbness in drink? How could he guide these lost souls? How could he save them from themselves? Helm had tasked him with protecting them, not just their bodies, but their very spirits. But as the hours stretched on, the enormity of the task threatened to crush him. Footsteps approached, soft, hesitant. The rustle of fabric, the shifting of weight. A gentle hand on his shoulder and a whispered,
Morthal?
He kept his eyes closed a moment longer, then let out a feigned, sleepy murmur.
Your turn?
Doreen said quietly, her voice lacking its usual sly edge. In the firelight's half-glow, Morthal sat up slowly, blinking as though he'd just woken from deep slumber.
Thank you.
He said evenly, forcing a kind tone.
Get some rest.
He noticed Zira watching him with a detached curiosity, her eyes narrowing slightly. No doubt she questioned his calm. But Morthal played the part well. He nodded, rose to his feet, and took his place at the camp's edge, helmed eyes scanning the star-lit gloom. The camp was quiet now, save for the gentle crackle of the fire. The others had settled into their bedrolls, their forms rising and falling with the rhythm of sleep. Morthal stood at the edge of the firelight, staring into the darkness beyond. His grip on his hammer tightened, his knuckles white. But the stillness didn't bring peace, it only amplified the storm within him. He took a step away from the fire, then another, until he stood just outside its glow. The cool night air bit at his skin, but he barely noticed. His legs gave way, and he sank to his knees, the earth cold and unyielding beneath him. Morthal lowered his head, his fingers clutching his holy symbol. His voice, barely more than a whisper, trembled with desperation.
"Oh, Helm!"
He whispered, voice hitching. The words caught in his throat, emerging in a hoarse murmur that carried more plea than prayer.
"I beg you, lend me your wisdom. I cannot see a clear path. Their souls are lost and wounded. They stray from your light, from any light. How do I lead them?"
The wind rustled through the trees, a faint and eerie echo of his prayer. He drew a shaky breath and continued.
"Alara's past is soaked in blood, haunted by shadows I cannot chase away. Doreen's heart is tethered to greed, and it blinds her to the true worth of those around her. Zyra. She hides behind a mask, probably fears kindness more than cruelty. And Balin.
His voice broke.
Balin is drowning in something he won't even speak of. How can I lead them? I cannot even keep them safe from their own vices. And now I doubt myself. Please, give me the insight to see a spark of goodness in them. Let me find the words that inspire them to choose the right path."
He pressed his forehead to the ground, the cool dirt grounding him as tears slipped from his tightly shut eyes.
"Helm, I beg you,
He whispered, his voice raw.
grant me the strength to carry this burden. Grant me the wisdom to guide them. I cannot do this alone. Please, show me the way."
The night pressed closer, as if listening, holding breath. Morthal's shoulders sagged under the weight of his pleas.
"I know these burdens are mine. I know you have placed me here with purpose. If I cannot guide them, who will? But I am so afraid. Afraid I will fail them and fail you. Give me strength, Helm. Give me the courage to hope for them, even when their actions disappoint. Help me find patience. Help me see the light inside them, faint though it may be."
Tears escaped his clenched lids, carving silent trails down his cheeks. He didn't wipe them away. Alone in the darkness, he laid his soul bare. The wind sighed softly through the pines, as if in answer, and a distant star winked overhead. Morthal inhaled, steadying himself. This pain of doubt and fear, he would bear it. He must. Eventually, he rose from his knees, calmer, though still weighted by responsibility. He returned to the edge of the camp, warhammer in hand, eyes scanning the shadows. The night remained quiet. His desperation had not vanished, but in its place was a resolve, a quiet flame that would not be snuffed out. If Helm had charged him with this task, then somewhere, buried within these troubled souls, was a seed of goodness waiting to sprout. Morthal would guard that seed, nurture it with patience and understanding, and when dawn came he would face them again, a steady beacon in their uncertain world. When he finally returned to others, his knees stiff from the cold earth, he was startled to see the campfire reduced to faintly glowing embers, its warmth barely lingering in the air. Hours must have passed, though it felt like only moments. He stood there, watchful, a sentinel in the night. He took comfort in the silence after prayer, believing that Helm, in his inscrutable way, had heard and would guide him forward. And then he heard it, and the shadows at the edge of the camp shifted. It was time, once again, to stand firm.
O helm, protector strong and true, grant me wisdom in all I do, to lead with strength, to guard with care, yet leave their hearts to wander where. O helm, protector strong and true, grant me wisdom in all I do, to lead with strength, to guard with care, yet leave their hearts to wander where. Per tenebras ubivia manet, servare possim non imponet, solum liberi verum amant, lux sacra corda aperit sancta. In trials dark where choices wait, let me protect but not dictate, for only free can hearts embrace the truth that shines in sacred grace. O helm, I ask for strength to lead, to guard with love yet not impede, for only free their hearts may find thy truth, O helm, with open mind. Per tenebras ubivia manet, servare possim non imponet, solum liberi verum amant, lux sacra corda aperit sancta. O helm, I ask for strength to lead, to guard with love yet not impede, for only free their hearts may find thy truth, O helm, with open mind.